Dutchscape. This is a word that we have listened to for many years. From the day I came into the hobby, some 35 years ago, I have heard this word Dutchscape. Today we will discuss a Dutchscape, its origin, and how to set up a Dutchscape. What does it mean? Pros and cons of a Dutchscape. So many things. We'll discuss all of that. Now, firstly, there was a delay in the videos. Apologies. But we were very busy with the Indica soil launch and some traveling was happening. So I was not able to make the video. But then here we're back again. So I'm sure you're all happy. And we will continue with our Saturday Zoom class also. Aquascaping is an art that you can master very easily by practice and the right guidance. Our Aquascaping Masterclass on our YouTube channel is an effort towards guiding you with all the possible tips and tricks and ideas and techniques and methods and solutions and problem solving, everything that you need to know to become a better aquascaper, to become a competition level aquascaper. That's what we're trying to do. Now, if you want to be part of that, it's very easy. There is a join button on my channel that you can click and join the Aquascaping Masterclass. There is a small fee towards it. And of course, we've already made about 14 plus videos and there are so many more videos to come. And this is something you can constantly watch, learn and become a better aquascaper. So join now. Now, a Dutchscape came into being somewhere in the 1930s. It's a long time back, a very long time back. Dutchscape basically was, the idea was conceptualized at a time when aquatic plants were being discovered. People were seeing that there are different kinds of aquatic plants. They were trying to figure out how to grow them. And this whole thing started somewhere in the Netherlands. Now, Dutchscape is very useful for people who prefer growing aquatic plants. Different kinds of aquatic plants, colorful aquatic plants and a variety of aquatic plants. So it's very good for those kind of hobbyists who prefer growing plants only. They're not bothered about the whole aquascape and the hardscape and all of that. Now, as technology has changed, we've got a lot more variety of plants that we can grow. A lot more colors that you can use in a Dutchscape. And additionally, the whole idea of soil and has changed over a period of time. I'm sure in the 1930s they used laterite and sand very much like a Diana Wallstead style or something like that. But now as time has changed, evolved, a lot of new technology has come into play. I'm not going to get into detail about the whole substrate layer because we've done a very detailed video for that. But again, quickly, I'm going to run through the whole substrate idea. In the bottom of the tank, we have used root boost plus, basically bacteria, root growth, oxygen generation. Then we've used the special substrate. Again, place for bacteria to colonize, height in the tank, a lot of oxygen movement and water circulation, air circulation. Overall idea of trying to create an healthy substrate layer. On top of that, we've used the Indica additives. Like I had explained earlier, it's based on the mycorrhiza concept where a beneficial fungi helps to create a network, symbiotic network between the roots of different plants. Finally, we've used the soil, placing it towards the back. Now, Indica soil is also very nutritious, also has elements that will not allow algae formation. Now, this is the basic substrate layer. Now, we'll discuss setting up a Dutch aquascape. Now, aquascape, I don't know, a Dutch aquarium or a Dutch planted aquarium because there's no scaping as such. Is there no scaping? Actually, you can involve the whole idea of scaping in a Dutch aquarium. Where here also, just by using different kinds of plants, you can create your focal point, you can create your secondary plant, all of that can be created. Now, Dutchscape can be made in many formats. It's totally up to you. The simplest format would be like agriculture. So you divide your whole soil substrate area into multiple partitions. So here I'm dividing this. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So 15 partitions I have. And if I want to, I can even mark by using a toothpick or a kebab stick or whatever you want to. Mark those areas. So I know this is my square. So I'm going to plant within that. I can additionally use more number of sticks to kind of make a better demarcation if I want to. This is one way to go about it. Now this was a very simple, straightforward approach, right? Where kheti badi, okay, agriculture. Now you can take it to a next level where you can say, I'm going to use, something like a triangular format. So I'm going to use one plant here, some plants here, plant here, then maybe divide it. So it's a very geometrical shape kind of a thing that can also be done. In all formats, you will use a short or a carpet plant in the front. Mid-ground, multiple varieties, small or tall. In mid-ground also, like Styrogane, Pogostemon Helferi can be short. Alternanthera reniki can be slightly taller. So that can all be used here. And your stem plants will come to the back. Now again, there is no rule in that. Suppose, let's say I'm going to use a kind of a angular format. I can have my stem plant start here and grow up till here. And I can trim it also like that. And I can use a smaller size or a mid-ground plant on the sides. That's also possible. So it totally depends on how you want to create the whole look. Now, the look is very interesting because it's a very straightforward garden-like look, like a botanical garden where plants are beautifully arranged in different heights and shapes. That's what you are going to do here because your focus is the plant. There is no other element to focus on. So you can make it look interesting. You can even, nowadays again, technology, you can trim the plants to a roundish shape. So the tops are all looking round and it will look interesting. Again, very manicured or garden-like. Now here in our tank, I'm really not going to follow any pattern. I'm just going to feel it, or in simple terms, I'm going to wing it. I'm going to start with the most brightest or most beautiful plant. And I'm going to maybe start somewhere here and then build all the other plants around it. Okay, that's my whole idea. Let's see how it goes. I'm not going to keep any fixed format here. Depending on how many plants I have of each variety, I'm going to use that space to fill up the whole tank. Like for example, let's say I have only 1 cup or few stems of Pogostemon, then I will use only very little. But if I have a lot of Rotala HRA, I may use a larger band of it. So depending on how many plants I have or how much plant I have, I am going to change my look or scape and hope that it looks beautiful eventually. Actually, any planted aquarium will look beautiful. Doesn't matter how it is grown. It looks stunning all the time. So let's start. So like I said, I'm going to try and start with the most vibrant plant and I'm going to start somewhere here, considering this to be our focal point. Now I'm not going to get into detail of focal point and how and why and what and all of that we have done already in the previous video. So you can go back and watch the previous video on focal point and depth and perception and all of those things. Here I have Rotala Blood Red or maybe HRA, kind of similar. And this is already submerged grown plant. It is growing in my another tank. So I've cut a few stems from there just to show you. The rest of the plants will probably be using tissue culture, but this is just to show you the idea of how to start. I'm using this. Now you can take about 2 to 3 stems at any given point of time. Here there are about 3 stems here which have been cut from another tank, like I said. Now see the bottom of the stem where you have cut the stem, okay, and the pincet, this is how it should be placed. This is the top. This is ideal. Now always plant cross, okay, never plant straight, always plant cross, okay. Now here we are using indica soil, like I said, and we don't need to use any water, okay, because the soil is already moist. Once you put the plant in, you take out your pincet and it's neat and clean. In any other soil, you need to actually first spray water, make sure it is wet, okay, then you start planting, because if it is dry, the plant will not go inside, it will not hold. Indica soil does not have those issues. Most soils will also tell you that you should use, first you use your regular soil, then you use powder. Again, indica soil, you don't need to do all of that, it's all there. All you need to do is plant properly. Again here when planting, interesting thing or important thing will be is that if you have shorter stems, then you plant more towards the front, and if you have taller stems, you plant it towards the back. Now I am going to cover up this area with the plant. If you use the right kind of tools, then planting becomes very convenient. Most people try to do it with tweezers that your family, sister, mother, somebody uses. Those are not a good idea. It usually harms the plant, okay, and you don't want that happening. If you use a good tool, then your results will be much better. Again, planting is very easy. Use the right tool, hold it correctly, you put it in cross, okay, and comes out beautifully, right? Now once we have done this, again similarly, if it is a carpet plant, you will start to kind of show you an idea of how to plant. The most important thing, the message that is important while planting is something that we have to understand now. Okay, and I have not shown you that, I'll show you now. Always start planting from the front of the tank. Start here, because now see what is happening here. This is a taller plant, so it's going to droop forward and it's going to cover up this area, and you're not going to be able to see what is there or what space you have there. That becomes an issue. Especially if you're using any other brand of soil and you fill water, then through the water you're not going to be able to see the space available. But in indica soil, you can always move the plant and see the space. That's not an issue. But here, again, start from the front, move towards the back. Now I'm not going to waste your time in showing you every single plant. It's going to take some time. This was going to take about an hour or so to finish planting. So I'll finish the planting, then I'll tell you what plants I've used where and how I've used it. Two important points while planting, especially when you're doing carpet and planting any kind of aquascape actually, is one, the root should not be visible in the front. It's very important, because not because there is a problem with it, there is no problem, but aesthetically you want it to look nice. We've kept the front level, okay, in one line. So you want the plants to be like say half a centimeter behind, so that it looks very neat and all you see is a soil. So when you take a picture later, it looks very neat. Now, other thing is, like I told you, indica soil already is very moist. So there is a little bit of moisture in the soil. Plus, while you are planting, because most tissue culture plants, you will wash the gel. So there will be some water that comes in, but the plants may start to dry. So ideally what you want to do is lightly spray. As you are planting, very lightly spray. You don't have to do a heavy spray. Just very, very lightly spray so that the plants stay moist, especially the leaves, they don't dry out. So you just keep it slightly moist. By using a simple spray can, you can achieve that. So now we have completed our planting. Let me run through the different kinds of plants that we have used here, like I mentioned before. We've used Monte Carlo in the front as a carpet. We've used hair grass, little bit of hair grass that we had, we've used it here in between. It'll give a kind of a break. We've used styrogaine repens here. It's a short plant. We've used some lilies here. These are lilies, red, green. I just want to see what will happen to it. Again, styrogaine. This is Crypticon pink. This is a new variety of plant. Once I figure out the name, I'll tell you what it is. Pavestamon hellfairy downy. Alternanthera renici mini. Limnophilia aromatica. Again, this is the first plant we put. Rotala blood red, HRA. I think it's a mix of both. Rotala bonsai. Rotala rotundifolia green. Ludwiga inclinata dark orange right here at the back. And then here in front of it, Macrandra pink. Rotala Macrandra pink. Again, we have Rotala blood red here. So it will kind of form a bridge here. Again, we have Rotala indica here. So it's got a kind of a goldish yellowish color. So this whole blend is going to look beautiful. And finally, again here we have Rotala indica, but in a submerged form. Now, the trick here is we have used two plants that are already growing in water, and these are all tissue culture plants. Now, the trick is once you finish filling the water, which we will see how to do, maybe tomorrow you will trim this to the bottommost level. Allow it maybe even 2-3 days, but trim it as low as possible. Once the roots hold on, okay, trim it off. Then equally all the plants will grow together. But if you allow these plants to grow, they will grow really fast and take off any excess nutrition that is there and possibly harming the plants around it. So very important that when you used already submerged plants, this is something that you need to remember. Now, filling water is a kind of a meditation. Okay, that is how you have to look at it. Because in my way, if you go through it, it's a very slow process, but it is the best process. I'll tell you why. One, most of these other videos you will see that they will put a piece of paper or a plastic or a plate or a kind of a bowl and then pour water into it, okay, and that will overflow. It will cause issues in the planting. This is my belief. My way of doing it, let me just show you. Use a mug and use your hand to kind of fill the water. Now, you're doing two things here. One, your hand is telling you the pressure of water that is falling into the tank. So, if you want, you can increase or decrease. Okay, your hand is a beautiful measure for that. Also, what your hand does is tells you the temperature of the water. Very important that the water temperature is equal to your room temperature. So, now slowly but steadily, you are pouring the water and allowing this to raise. Now, when you do it in this method, firstly, you will not get dust. Remember, indica soil is already moist, unlike other dry soil. So, here you will not get dust. There will be no dust in the tank. Thereby, actually, you won't need to do multiple water changes. Second, bigger companies tell you that you need to do a water change the next day and then the next day, maybe first 3-4 days, so that you can remove the excess ammonia. There is no excess ammonia here. You can actually add fish today after filling water. But because we've added the plants new, you don't want to add any fish because the fish will pluck out the plant. So this has no ammonia. So you don't need to do multiple water changes. Yes, depending on how you fill the water. If you use a hose pipe, there will be dust. If you pour the water too fast, there will be dust. Then you will need to do an additional water change. Otherwise, you will not need to do anything. All you need to do is fill the water slowly and aram se, without being in a hurry. Yes, this is a slow process. That's why I said it's like meditation. Do it when you are, calm, and this is like, peace of mind. You can keep filling the water. It will take some time. Probably a tank like this, 100 or so liters, it will take you about half an hour to fill, but that's a good thing. That's half an hour of mind-free, stress-free work. Don't be in a hurry. So now let's fill the water and see what needs to be done. As we keep filling the water, you will also realize that unlike other brands, okay, like popular brands will tell you that one side you keep filling the water and other side you keep removing dust. So one side you're filling the water, one side you're removing the water. Now, generally what happens is the water that you're removing gets wasted, right? It's dusty water, so what will you do? Throw it off. With indica soil, you don't have all those things. You fill the water and you will see now that there will be no dust. So this is what I want you to see. I want you to see the clarity of the water. There is no dust. Yes, there are some plants that are floating. These are small cuttings. You can't help it. Don't really bother about it. If you have a largish kind of a cutting and you think you want to put it back, you're welcome to do it. Not an issue. But small pieces, don't worry about it. We can remove it off later. Sometimes leaves will be there, small root cuttings will be there, small pieces of stem will be there. Not to worry. Don't try to salvage every single thing. It's not going to happen. If there are big pieces like I showed you, you can put it back. But smaller pieces, trying to put them back will actually disturb what you already have. More importantly, the clarity of the water. Indica soil does not create dust. Now we fill the water. Once we fill the water, what you need to do is, use a good pincet, whatever you're using. And if you're using plants that are already growing or submerged plants like we've used here, you move it slightly. See, what happens is with plants like this, there are sometimes small other plants sticking to it. Like see this, there's this small pieces of Monte Carlo here and there. And because the water is so clear, I'm able to see through and through. Now I'm showing off that the water is very clear with indica soil, but that's the truth. Okay, there is no dust. Now once you've done that and made sure that there are no pieces here and there, because see, we've used Monte Carlo as a carpet. Now suppose there is a piece stuck here, it's going to grow and it's going to cause issues in that area. So you don't want it there. Of course, if you're going to do another water change tomorrow, then there is a possibility that you will see it and remove it. Now, sometimes you have bigger stems. Again, we have a big stem of Monte Carlo here. I don't suggest you try to put it back. But if you really want to and not waste it, then again, very slowly you can put it back. But you have to be careful that you don't disturb any of the other plants. Now, once this is done, you use a net, fine net. The back of the net, you hold it down. This is what you want. You want a flat surface and you use the net, like this, and collect all the debris that is floating on top. Now, when you keep the net straight, it's easier to handle and it will not disturb anything below. So, you want to collect all the debris. Again, don't be in a hurry. These are leaves, they will float, sometimes they will go below, but best is collect it, and this can be put into your garden. Don't waste it, it's plant. Our Dutch scape is now set. The next step is to fix your filter and CO2. Once that is done, you can start your fertilization. Now, because we're using indica soil, for the first 15 days, we will use Good Grow series Start. Now, what Start is going to do in the first 15 days is, it's going to help cycle the tank. Not that it is needed, because there's already bacteria below, but again, it will help cycle the tank. There is ample amount of bacteria in it. Plus, it has something called a bioavailable carbon. So, in case your carbon dioxide does not work efficiently, this will still provide the right carbon that is required for the plants. Additionally, it will help with root generation, micro root generation specifically, so that the plants generate ample amount of root to hold on, so that once they are held, then all the transformation and growth can start happening. So this happens in the first 15 days. So every day we will use Good Grow series Start, one push, that is 1.5 ml, one push, you get a pump with it, for 20 liters of water. So assuming this is about 100 liters, I will use 5 push. That is what I will do here. So we've started off a Dutch tank. I've shown you how to plant a Dutch tank, and we have understood the basic nuances of it. We've also seen some benefits of indica soil. Now, I will share updates of this tank as and when possible, so that you can see the growth of the plant. I am confident that the plants will grow beautifully, keeping in mind the different tests that we have done. And the plants that we've used are also very healthy. So I'm a little confident that you will have a beautiful growth in the next 8-10 days. But yes, there are possibilities where one or other plant may get spoiled. Don't get worried about it. Replace that with whatever is available and that you can get. But replace it immediately. Don't let it fester and, decay, and that actually spoils the whole system. If you see that the plant is decaying, remove it and change it. That is very, very important. So, I hope this Dutch Aquascape tank was interesting. The points were interesting. And of course, we're coming up with more videos. And like all videos, again, be prepared for the Saturday Zoom class. And yes, enjoy aquascaping. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.